I'm what's left of Marty Jewell, former Richmond City Councilman and hopelessly political all my life. But this is a gathering of civic and clergy leaders making a statement to the public and to the press. Our concerns with regards to the firestorm that is going on and has been going on for the last couple of weeks in state government. I will ask Reverend Fry to come and read our statement, and then Ms. Thompson will add on to that, and then I will referee any questions. Please come forward. Let me ask from where media is coming from. Starting with this nice lady.
Oh, NPR.
Oh, the NPR lady.
NBC 12.
NBC.
Richmond Times-Dispatch.
Bless your heart.
CBS 6.
CBS 6. And this brother?
New York Times. New York Times.
New York Times.
New York Times.
New York Times. Great.
This is our statement here on today, on Wednesday, February 13th. The Central Virginia African American Civil Rights leaders and pastors, NAACP members, SCLC leaders, church leaders, sister voters, community activists, fraternities, sororities, Masonites, and many others will conduct this press conference to call for the fairness and due process regarding allegations against Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax and other critical issues. The event, as you see, is here today at the church here, located at 31st Street, 823 North 31st Street. Among others, the group is led by Philip Thompson, Reverend Dr. Earl Brown, Reverend Dr. Emmanuel Harris, Reverend Dr. Lester Fry, yours truly, along with community activists Lynette Thompson, Janetta Lee, and Marty Jewell. These leaders and others in the African American community do not despair Mr. Fairfax's accusers and strongly feel their voice should be heard. After being rocked by a trifecta of news stories in stepping forward to protect the voters of the African Americans and others, we leaders advocate that Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax should be given the exact same course of action afforded to now Supreme Court Justices Kavanaugh and Clarence Thomas, that of both fairness and due process. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Lynetta Thompson, and even though we look few here standing, I'm speaking on behalf of thousands of people who voted for Justin Fairfax in 2017, and we, the undersized group of African American Virginia women, urge Mr. Fairfax to not resign before the full exercise of due process takes place and determines that stepping down from the position in our state government to which he was fairly elected is the correct action to take. If not realized by many, the current situation is nothing but an abuse of power against both Mr. Fairfax and the people who voted for him, particularly African American voters. While I and many others do not at all disparage those who accuse Mr. Fairfax, Dr. Vanessa Tyler and Meredith Watson charges, because they must be taken seriously. We believe he should stand firm in the coming days, weeks, and months. Our interest is in ensuring that due process is permitted to proceed and work through this situation for the sake of women who have suffered these assaults. the man accused of these acts and for the system which must be fixed to serve justice properly in the future. As black women who care, who are very active in civil rights community, who are activists in the community pushing for justice reform for all people, we want to assure you that there are increasing numbers of African American women who take offense to how Mr. Fairfax is being treated because of what it reflects of the history of such treatment of our fathers, our brothers, our sons. We are in the middle of one of the most vocal periods for calling for our broken system. We call for due process that is fair, accountable, and serves the justice deserved by Meredith Watson, Dr. Vanessa Tyson, and by Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax. Now more than ever, and perhaps particularly as we are in Black History Month right now, we want you to hear the voices of the many that are rising against racist injustice into a mighty force. Voices which, in addition to everywhere else, will most definitely be heard at the ballot box in June, November, because we do vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynetta. Thank you, lady. We'll now take questions. None? Great, we can go home.
No, I guess I'll ask the question. At the end of the day, what are you expecting to happen? What do you want to happen?
Well, we're asking for due process. Made available to every American citizen, first class or second class. You do due process. If you were a murderer, you do due process. These are allegations. And we have experienced the history of our men, black men, being hung, being shot, based on pure allegations. That's not the American way. We expect then an impartial and independent investigation of this matter, which is what he's calling for.
Yes.
Doesn't care who it comes from, including the FBI. And so he should be accorded that, like any other American citizen.
How do you respond to those who say that this is not the criminal process we're talking about? We're talking about whether or not he can be a leader in the state.
It's not a criminal process yet. And I hate to put that out there. But now that the lawyers have gotten in it, we don't know where this is going to go. This is a very fluid situation. Things are changing every single day. We're now hearing allegations about the second accuser and some weird behavior that's been reported. It unfolds every day. This is way too soon to conclude anything other than as soon as the authorities can put it together, get an independent investigation going for this gentleman. And stop calling for his resignation.
And what if no criminal complaints are filed? We know that the Boston prosecutor has reached out to Dr. Vanessa Tyson's attorney saying, I am willing to work with you if you file charges, but at last check we understand that she doesn't want to press charges.
Well, we're glad to hear that. And so I'm no soothsayer. I have no idea where this is all going to wind up. But I do know that we will all be on the front line demanding fairness for those who are accused. Don't care who they are. We don't know.
What do you make of the
mentioned
Black
not
Caucus calling
disparaging.
for him to step down?
I think it's absurd. They didn't check with us. They haven't, to my knowledge, they haven't convened any town hall meetings to get input from citizens. The people got something to say about that. They placed him in that order with their trust. I mean, in that seat with their trust. How do you just wave that away capriciously because you sit in the halls of the legislature? That's no way to do business. And so I think that was premature. The state Democratic Party is calling for resignations. That's premature. And they all, as politicians tend to do, cover their own behinds. You know that and I know that. That's how politicians behave.
I know some people were pretty skeptical when one accuser came out, but then when it was a second person, some people were like, okay, maybe we need to start taking this a little bit more serious. What would you say about the timing of all these allegations versus...
I'm glad you asked that. I'm convinced that aside from the unfortunate fact that these matters have come out, aside from the Republicans not bringing this up during the campaign, astoundingly, they didn't come up with any of this. And you better know if they had anything on him, they'd have sure brought it up. Aside from that, we know that there are rivals for the next election for governor. And there are indications out there that rivals may have a hand in this. We don't know. We don't know. And that's my point. I suspect you don't either, or you'd be telling me.
You have anybody in mind?
Wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole.
Pretty close.
Wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. There are multiple rivals for that seat.
What message would you have for victims of sexual assault who are nervous to come forward and share their story, despite everything they've seen maybe unfold here in Virginia, and possibly some people thinking that their allegations aren't being taken seriously?
You know, in today's Me Too era, they have no reason not to come forward. But back then they did. They did, and I understand that, because women were not taken seriously. Women were not protected. Women were denigrated. And so we understand that. But why now? That's a big question. Why now?
Well, I guess I'm going to piggyback on that Me Too statement.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not mistaken, one of his accusers is one of the three founders of that Me Too movement. And I'm just curious to find out, why is it now, not a year ago, or when the Me Too movement was founded, she didn't come out?
You know what? That's the first I heard of that. I hadn't heard that before. One of the founders of the Me Too?
Yes, sir.
Excuse me. All of this is so curious, and it gets curiouser and curiouser, right? And I suggest that we take a deep breath, take a step back, and let the facts emerge, and before we start calling for anybody's resignations. Way too premature.
What about Northam?
I want to keep the focus on Fairfax today.
Are you taking a position on Northam?
Oh, some may, but we're not. Not today. Any other questions? This press conference is adjourned, and I thank you all for coming. God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you say your name once more?
Marty Jewell.
M-A-R-T-Y?
Yes.
J.
Jewell. That guy taught me everything I know. If I said something wrong, blame him. Yeah.